Today, we're talking about the latest injury update around Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown. We're also going to be talking about one major key to victory for the Washington Commanders as they get set to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, and many others for multiple touchdowns this season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it. And let's start with the latest injury update around Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown. And so we have some good news and we have some bad news. And so the bad news is that both Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown are going to be out and will miss this game against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the good news is that both players seem to be trending in the right direction. And so got a chance to look at this article on ESPN.com. It's under Commanders receiver Terry McLaurin ruled out versus the Chargers. This is written by John Keim. And he gives us updates here around Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown. And so he says this: McLaurin was working on a side field with athletic trainers Thursday, the first time he has done so during portions of practice open to the media. He was running sprints at around half to three-quarter speed. Brown also has worked with athletic trainers the past 2 days. And John Keim gives us an update on two other Commanders. And so he says that Mikey Sammerstill and Deebo Samuel did not practice the past 2 days, but did make the trip. Both were working at mostly full speed while performing drills on a field separate from the rest of their teammates. All right, so he gives us the update here around Mikey Sammerstill and Deebo Samuel, and he gives us that update here around Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown. And so going back to what we heard around Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown, this is great news, especially starting with Terry McLaurin, the fact that he is starting to sprint. That suggests that he will be back sooner rather than later. And I certainly think that the Commanders will need him and Noah Brown to get out there. And I think that the sooner that both of these players get out there, along with Jaden Daniels, and they start to really get a rhythm, the sooner that this offense can just really start to get its identity. And I think we see some more consistency. And also, too, with Noah Brown, even though, it doesn't say that he was doing sprints, the fact that he was out there with athletic trainers, that is a great sign. He's listed with a groin and a knee. And so the fact that he is on the field and he's doing some type of work, that suggests that he will be back sooner rather than later. Because, I just think that right now, as far as the pass catchers for the Washington Commanders, we know what Deebo Samuel can do. I think that Luke McCaffrey is trending in the right direction. Jalen Lane, not quite there yet, even though he has shown some great signs as just a special teams player, but he's going to need to step up there as a wide receiver. And so the fact that we're getting, two main wide receivers back, that is going to help this offense out big time here. And so next, I wanted to go ahead and just really talk about, just one major key to winning this game against the Los Angeles Chargers. And that's going to be just slowing down the Chargers passing game. And so I don't think it's going to be a situation where you can stop it, even though I would think that that would just be great if we could see that from the Commanders, but they have got to find a way to slow them down. And so, that really leads me to the point of this being, I think, another big test for this secondary. In fact, I think that this is even bigger than it was last week. And so I talked about it being a big test for the secondary last week. I really felt like that Michael Penix Jr. and just their playmakers were going to come out and challenge the Commanders secondary, and they did. All of their playmakers were able to make plays and things like that. Now, one of the things that Joe Wood Jr. talked about in his presser today is just really kind of, the things that he's seeing with the defense and just really some things that they need to clean up. And so 3 major points came out of that presser. And so again, just paraphrasing this, which you can check out on the Commanders YouTube page, but he talks about really just not being consistent. So he's talking about the up and down play that we've seen, during the first 4 games of the season here with the defense. And then he's also talking about the communication And then he was talking about getting these tackles that are getting turnbacks. And so he's talking about creating negative plays, but he's also talking about when the Commanders, tackle opposing teams and things like that, they're actually turning them back towards their field goal posts. And so just really kind of sending a message that way, tackling and creating these negative plays. And so, those are three keys that Coach Dan Quinn, Joe Wood Jr. talked about here. He also talks about this, that really on that play where Kyle Pitts was able to get out and get to the vertical route, he talked about that was actually, a missed play in the secondary, that somebody actually came up out of their assignment trying to make a play that they really should not have made. And they should have stayed, with their original assignment in the defense. And that really probably would have stopped that vertical. And so, it just really kind of drives the point home that the Commanders are still, trying to just execute the techniques and the principles and things like that. And so Joe Wood Jr. does say this too as well, that the team cannot afford to give up these big plays because it just takes the energy out of your team. And so I think that is one of the things that the Chargers are going to want to do with their passing game, because just looking at the stats here for the Chargers and really what they've done so far, the Chargers have got it done in the air. I mean, right now, according to their ESPN team stats here, 49 first downs to the 24 first downs that they've got running the football. And so this team is going to put it in the air to move the sticks. Next, this is a team that has been pretty efficient on third downs. And so right now they're at 43.4, 23 of 53. And so, that right there, that really kind of goes to the point of what the Commanders have struggled with on the road, is just they haven't been able to get off the field. And so now you're going against a team that likes to pass. And then on top of that, they're good on third downs. And so that is a challenge. And then when you look at just really what they've done as far as just the totality and yards through the air, 249. And so, we just came off a game here where Michael Penix Jr. went for 300 plus. And so, they're already coming in at 249. You know that Justin Herbert is going to throw the football down the field. And, what really is going to be the challenge for the Commanders is that each one of their pass catchers, it presents, just a big challenge. And I think that one of the players that, certainly the Commanders are going to have to try to find a way to lock up here, and that's going to be Quentin Johnston. Like, this guy has been pretty incredible over the first couple games here this season, because when you look at just really his statistics as far as his averages are concerned, his first year in the league, 11.3. He went up to 12.9 last season. He's jumped to 15.3, and he's already got 4 touchdowns. And so his career high was 8. And so, look, he has been on a heater here for the Chargers to start off. And so he's not just on a heater, but he's been a big play threat here for the Chargers. And that is what the Commanders have struggled with, is just really stopping these big time plays. And so Quentin Johnston coming in, he's been getting 71 plus a game over the first 4 games. He's got a TD in 3 of the 4 games. And again, he's averaging 15.3 a catch. And so, that is tough right there for the Commanders to try to figure out what they're going to do with that. I'm sure that they're probably going to try to give him different looks and things like that. But on top of that, the Chargers also have like a savvy veteran in Keenan Allen. And so Keenan Allen, he's done a pretty good job over the first 4 games as well. Like, he's been a reliable target. He's worked with Justin Herbert in the past. And so, he's going to be available, when you miss him in zones and things like that. And he knows how to sit down and kind of win at the top of routes and stuff like that still. And so that's going to be a challenge. And then, they also have still Lad McConkey as well. And so this is a guy that, look, he can get loose, out of that slot and things like that. And so, this is a guy that can probably wreak havoc over the middle of the field. And so, that is the challenge for the Commanders this game, is just really trying to find a way to slow down, this Chargers passing attack. And so I will say this, the Commanders have done, I think, a great job as far as getting to the quarterback for the most part. It hasn't really translated on the road. But when you look at just really the amount of hits that Justin Herbert has taken. He's taken a lot of them. And this last game out, 2 sacks taken. He had 12 QB hits, and there was a pressure rate of 47.7. And they also, too, lost an offensive lineman here in Joe Alton. So the Chargers, they're getting thin, or they're pretty thin up front as far as their offensive line. So that means that if the Commanders can play well up front and they can get the pressure and they can get sacks and things like that, that is certainly going to help the secondary, because I'm not sure that just the secondary themselves are going to be able to slow down the Chargers if there's no resistance up front. And so I think that this is a huge key for the Commanders, slowing this down, taking these big plays away. The Commanders will have a chance to get this game on the road. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking here about this. Do you feel like that, yes, the secondary is going to be tested this week, and they're going to have to step up in a big way to stop the Chargers pass catchers? And also, too, let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking about Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown. Like, again, both of these players are going to be out, yes, but they are both trending in the right direction. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. And as we always say, go Commanders, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.